Good morning, afternoon, or evening, everyone. My name is Jeremy Walsh, and I'm the Director of Support, Training, and Documentation for BNI Connect. I'd like to welcome everybody to the webinar today. Today's webinar is the first in a 5-part series of BNI Connect webinars, mostly designed to help new members or members that have never logged into BNI Connect before, often running on the right foot here in BNI Connect. So we're going to start out with today's presentation, which I'm going to tell you a little bit about the background of BNI Connect, and we're going to talk about how to fill out your profile. The next webinar in the series, which is going to be tomorrow, is we're going to talk about giving and tracking referrals online, or how to use the online slips. Then we're going to take a couple of days off, and next week we are going to talk about connecting with other members on Tuesday. We're going to talk about member tools and reports on Wednesday, and we're going to round out the series next Thursday with inviting and registering visitors. So before we get started with today's presentation, just a couple of housekeeping things. The first of which is that this is a live webinar. So if you have any questions at all as we're going through the material today, please do ask those questions. The only silly question is the unasked question. We're scheduled for about 30 minutes worth of content. I try to be very respectful of everybody's time. I know everybody is busy and we all have clients to see and things to do, so I try to keep these to about a half hour. That being said, I am happy to stay on the call as long as you guys have questions. So I won't be rushing out the door. This is what I do all day, every day, is teach people about BNI Connect and answer questions about BNI Connect, so I'm happy to stay until all of your questions are answered as well. We will be recording all of the webinars. We always record these and we make them available in a couple of different places. The first of which is on our support site. So you can find our support site by clicking the question mark in BNI Connect or going to support.bniconnect.com. You can also find them on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/BNI Connect Global. Again, that's youtube.com/BNI Connect Global. I usually have these webinars up, within a day or two. They do take a little bit of time to process and upload and everything, so I have them up usually about 48 hours after we have taken the recording. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. And Ravi had a comment. Hi, and glad to have you on the webinar with us today, Ravi. And Ravi is a new member in BNI India, so we're going to learn more about BNI Connect. I'm going to try to help you out with that today, Ravi. So thanks again for being here. So let's talk about BNI Connect. Before I jump into the functionality of BNI Connect, I want to give you guys a little bit of a history of what BNI Connect is and really how it got started and just how big of a program this is. BNI Connect is it's the management database software for the entire BNI organization, which means it's not just a website, it's not just a referral tracker, it's kind of a whole lot of things. It's the QuickBooks for all the BNI members and chapters around the world, as well as the CRM software, as well as kind of a WordPress for all of the chapters and regions and countries that are using software as well. So that being said, we are in 72 countries. Those are, we have about 66 or 67 countries where we have active members and a number of other countries that are still in the startup phases, but BNI Connect is servicing 72 countries. We have about 948 regions around the world. That could be either states or even parts of states. About 7,000 chapters and another 1,000 or so core groups that are being started. All of that information is stored in BNI Connect. Now, just keep in mind, that means that we have about 195,000 active users. That means 195,000 profiles are in BNI Connect. We have 7,000 chapters. That means that we're inputting 7,000 POMS reports each and every single week. So we're collecting a whole bunch of information here in BNI Connect and also helping people grow their businesses through the kind of the social media portion of it. Every single country out there in BNI has a website, as well as every region has a website, as well as every chapter has a website. We'll learn more about those in the upcoming sessions. And as I said, there's about 195,000 active users right now. There are also about 500 or so discussion groups, and that's where you can connect with other members around the world and even with Dr. Meisner and have ongoing discussions. For the technically oriented people out there, here's a little bit of information about BNI Connect. It is one application. As I said, it's not just a website, it is a web application. There's about 1,000 individual pages within BNI Connect and 120 reports. One of the things that makes this software so complicated is that we do have to simultaneously translate everything in here to about 47 different languages. That includes about a dozen or so different dialects of English. So I think there's something like 14,000 individual fields that need to be translated. So that means every single time a new function is released and put out there, it has to be translated into all of these countries. And we can't even use anything like Google Translate because we have so many proprietary terms here in BNI. For example, in the United States, our leadership team, we call them the President, the Vice President, and the Secretary Treasurer. Well, in the UK, even though we're both using English, their version of English, they call them a chapter director instead of a president and a membership coordinator instead of a vice president. So there's little things like that that make it very complicated. We also have a dozen different programming languages, a million lines of code, and a whole bunch of data. But what makes BNI Connect so awesome, the first of which, really it's the first time in the history of BNI that we can take advantage of the larger network that is BNI. So I am a BNI member, by the way. I have been a BNI member since 2002 when I joined the Wakefield chapter here in the United States in Rhode Island. If you're not sure where Rhode Island is, we're about halfway between Boston and New York City on the east coast of the United States. But I'm still a member, and my chapter meeting is tomorrow morning. We meet on Thursdays. But when I joined in 2002, the only thing that I knew about BNI was the 25 or so people that I was meeting with on a weekly basis, those people that are in my chapter. So it wasn't until I went to my first leadership training, the regional leadership team training, about a year later that I realized, you know what, BNI is a little bit bigger than just my chapter. It's also all of those chapters that were in my region. So which was another, 35 or 40 chapters. At that time, though, there wasn't a BNI Connect. There wasn't even a regional website at that time. So trying to get in touch with anybody else that was in my region was almost impossible. Now, a couple of years later, I became a director consultant. I started going to national conferences and international conferences and meeting people from all over the world that were in BNI. And I still couldn't take advantage of that global network because we didn't have a global directory at that point. We didn't have, again, BNI Connect that connected us all together. So it made it really, really hard to reach out and build relationships with all of the people that I was meeting on a daily, weekly, and monthly basis around the world. Now with BNI Connect, I can look up any member or director's profile all in BNI Connect anytime I want to, and we have all this information on top of that at our fingertips. So without further ado, let's jump into BNI Connect and look at today's topic, which is going to be really how do I fill out my profile, this very, very first step. And again, when we're talking about this global network, one of the important things to know is that people will be looking at your profile. So they're going to be finding you online. They're going to be finding you through the regional websites, through the chapter websites, through the country websites. They're also going to be searching for you in the BNI directory within BNI Connect. So that means that what we want people to see is a good profile. We don't want people to look at it and say, this isn't building any credibility for us. Let me show you what I mean. So this is the inside of BNI Connect, but as I said, there's also all these regional and chapter websites as well. So for example, if I just go to Google, right, and I search for myself, Jeremy Walsh, the very first thing that comes up here is my personal profile. That's because Google is indexing all of these things Now this is a complete profile. So you can see that here, this is out there on the regular internet, so anybody has access to this. It has my name, my company name. It has a little video here that people can watch. It has my ideal referral and top product. It has all my social media links here as well. Ways to contact me. Now that's a lot different than, I'm going to just pull up I'm going to go to my test site, antarcticreferrals.com, and let me do a search for a member here in Antarctica. And let's see what we have. We have Bob Jones here in the BNI Burr chapter. And you can see here, this is a profile that hasn't been filled out yet. So there's very little information there. So we do have a name and we have a phone number there, but there's not much else from a credibility building standpoint in order to make this person stand out. So if I was looking for services, I probably wouldn't call this person. I'd call somebody that, I trusted and verified their information. Now on the inside of BNI Connect here, so let me zoom in a little bit here in BNI Connect. We also have the BNI directory here, and we access that through this little magnifying glass in the upper right-hand corner. And when I click on that, I can also do a search here for anybody globally within the BNI system. So for example, I can do a search for myself, Jeremy Walsh, and it'll search the BNI Global Directory. And you can see here, if I click on my name, this is my internal profile. So the other one was the public profile that's available out there just on the internet for anybody to look at. This is a private profile just for other BNI people to see. And it has a lot of the same information, so it still has my name and it has my video here. It is displaying my keywords and my logo, all the different phone numbers. On the inside only, if I choose to, it will also share my email address, and it still has all of my social media links and all of that. But on the inside of BNI Connect, there is a bit more information, and that is all of these tabs along the top. So we also can share our bio information, so our weekly presentations. There's 195,000 people in BNI. Probably 194,950 of them will never be at your BNI meeting. That means that we can share a weekly presentation and even a weekly presentation video through our profile. We also can share our gains profile and our tops profile. But wait, there's more. We also have access to anybody's connections, so you can see all the people that somebody is connected to and even click through. Unlike LinkedIn, we can go as many levels deep as you'd like to. You can take a look at anybody's profile and continue to click through them. There's also testimonials, so as you get connected to other people, people that you're connected to can leave you a testimonial about your services. There's also a photo sharing library where you can share really any kind of photos that you'd like to. You can even share, if you can upload client testimonials, just by making sure you save them as some type of a photo file, like a PNG or a JPEG. The discussion groups, you can see what discussion groups people are taking advantage of and participating in. And finally, you can see people's training history. So all of these things are updated by updating your profile. Now, just to give you an example, I have a test account up in Antarctica, and you can see if you don't fill out your profile, once again, we're not sharing any information here, so there's no way to get in touch with me. Haven't filled out anything on the bio tab. There's no testimonials, there's no photos, there's no groups, there's no training. Again, all of this doesn't really help in order to build the credibility. So how do we update all of this information? There's a couple of different ways to do it. If you happen to be on this page, you can see that there's a link here, update profile, but most people are going to do this from their home page. So if I go back to my home screen here by clicking on the home button, right here in the top, there is an update profile my BNI page. Update profile my BNI page. I can click on that, or from any other page in the system, you can always go to options, my account. Now, clicking on either one of those will take you to exactly the same place. It's going to take you into your profile. And you can see it's set up similar to your BNI directory profile in that it has a number of tabs along the top. We have our main profile tab, we have our user profile tab, contact details, account settings, bio. If you happen to be a director consultant, you have an extra tab as a director consultant, and finally the training history. So let's go through each of these and take a look and maybe have some best practices for each of these tabs. So the first tab here is the main profile tab, and it's going to have your basic information. It's really your name, your company name, your product service, things like that. Most of the information on the top portion of this page cannot be updated directly by you. Most of the time you do have to request those types of changes from your regional office, and part of that is strictly for legal reasons. When you fill out an application in your chapter, really, it's a contract between your chapter and yourself that you're going to be representing those particular services for that particular company. So if those need to be changed, we do need to make sure that the paperwork side of things is updated as well. And the same goes for your industry and your classification. The stuff that we want to pay attention to on this particular page is the stuff at the bottom, and that is the My Business and the keywords. Oh, by the way, registered tax office and VAT reference number. If you happen to be on the call here from the United States, you can leave those blank. Those are not needed here for members in the U.S. However, a lot of other countries, I know Australia, I believe, requires that members have their registered tax office listed there. Some other countries may require the VAT number as well. So those are available if you need them, but if you are here on the call from the United States, you can leave those blank. All right, so going down to My Business and keywords. Now the My Business description is really, the way I look at the My Business description is, think of yourself when you're at open networking at your chapter meeting, that 15 minutes right in the beginning of the meeting. And you're meeting and you're talking to people, especially talking to visitors that might be there. This is how you would explain yourself to a visitor. Now you want to, if you're typing this in text, you really want to keep this short, just to a couple of sentences. People go through websites very, very, very quickly. So if you write a novel in here, more than likely they're going to skip over it. So just a couple of sentences that will really stand out. The other thing you can do, there's only a couple of places in here where you can put things like an embedded video, and this happens to be one of them. This My Business field allows HTML markup, which means that you can do things like make paragraph markers and lists and bulleted and bold and highlight and stuff like that. It also means that you can put an embedded video. Now you do have to host that video on another website, so like YouTube or Vimeo, but all you need to do is copy and paste their embed code right into the body of this, and it will display your video. Now you do have to have at least some text in there, but you can put the video right in with that. So if you'd like more information on that, just drop me a question in there and I can show you guys how to do that at the end of the webinar today. All right, the second thing on this page is the keywords. And the keywords are really, really important so that people can find you when they don't know your name. Most of the time, when people are searching for services, either on the regional website or through the BNI directory, they're not putting in somebody's name to look for them. They're putting in like massage therapist in Hong Kong, or car insurance in Canada, things like that they're trying to search to find somebody. They just don't know who they are. So the keywords really help to boost your search results when people are looking for you. Now, BNI Connect is a database search. We are a database system. We don't quite have the same algorithms that Bing and Google and Yahoo have. So you have to be very careful that when people are searching, they're searching against specific really words and phrases. For example, my particular industry, computer and computer services, it's not necessarily going to find words like virus or networking or things that we may want to be found for, that we know what we want to be found for. So you need to supplement those. BNI Connect is going to search your name, it's going to search the industry, it's going to search the classification, it's going to search your chapter, it's going to search your address details. But you definitely want to supplement that with other words. The other thing you can do with this that may not be as obvious is that you definitely want to supplement the keywords with other locations and places. For example, for those of you that know anything about the great state of Rhode Island, it is the smallest state in the entire United States. You can drive from the northernmost part of the state to the southernmost part of the state in about 40 minutes. So it's really, really small. And that means that a lot of us here in Rhode Island, we do business outside of Rhode Island as well because it's very easy to drive to the next state over. So I put in Massachusetts and Connecticut. The other thing is that if you have, let's say, Arizona as your address and you have it spelled out Arizona, you may want to put the abbreviation in here as well for AZ so that if people are searching by the abbreviation, they still find you. And it also works with city names, so if you're looking to be found in specific cities that might not be where your office is located, you may want to put those cities in as well. If you make any changes, click Update, and that will save those changes to your profile. Now, changes happen immediately, so if you update all that information, it will automatically, the very next time somebody views your profile, whether it's on the public side or the BNI directory side, it will be updated with the new information. The only exception to this is that the keywords do take a half hour to recache themselves in the system. But all the other information, since it's pulling it every single time dynamically, that will be updated automatically. All right, let's take a look at the second tab here. The second tab is your user profile. So this is really has to do with your login information as well as your image and company logo. Now you can make your username be whatever you'd like it to be. A lot of people have their email address as the username, but it does not have to be your email address. It just has to be unique in the system. The memorable question and answer is your challenge question if you forget your password. So I'm going to show this to you guys just so if there's anybody in your chapter that hasn't logged in to BNI Connect yet, you might be able to help them, or if they've lost their password. So where this particular memorable question and answer come in is, let's say that I'm here and I forgot my password or username. It's going to search for me by my email address. I just have to put in that CAPTCHA code. Oops, it would help if I typed the CAPTCHA code correctly. And then it's going to ask me my secret question. I need to make sure that I get that secret question right, and it will allow me to reset my password. Now, if I don't get that question right, it is case sensitive, so make sure that you have all the appropriate uppercase and lowercase and spaces and periods and all that stuff absolutely correct. You can also change your language to any of the languages allowed in your area. You can see this big, long list of languages that are available. Make sure your time zone is correct, and of course, if you change anything, click Update. You also want to make sure that you upload a picture of yourself as well as a company logo. If you need to change those, all you need to do is to click on the little magnifying glass here. That will search your system for pictures. So let me go and find one of my logos here, and let's say I'm going to change this from the white one to, I'm going to change it over to the black one. I can crop it if I need to, otherwise I'm just going to go ahead and click Save. And now I will have an updated photograph in there. All right, the next tab over is all your contact details, your phone number, your email address, your social media addresses, your physical address. The most important thing on this page, the absolute most important thing on this page is at the top. It says Show Me on BNI public websites. That means your country website, your chapter website, and your region website. If this box is unchecked, you will be completely hidden from all of those public website searches. So please make sure if you want to be found on those public searches that you definitely have this checked off. Now, if you do have it checked off, then there's all these other options. You can choose which of your phone numbers you want displayed on the website or which of them you might want hidden. Keep in mind that you do have the option to send a message through the website. However, we will never display your email address on the public site. They just have the opportunity to send you a message. You can also put in social media links here. Keep in mind that this label, this display name, doesn't really show up anywhere. It shows up just in one little place. So if you have multiple Facebook sites or multiple LinkedIn profiles or multiple YouTube channels or whatever it is, you can use any of the other labels that you're not using to just put in a second copy of it. You can see here I have my Facebook page, my BNI Connect Facebook page, my business Facebook page, etc., etc. And finally, at the bottom, you do have the opportunity to update your address, choose which one is displayed. If you happen to be working from home, you have a home office and you don't want that address displayed, my recommendation is in the address that you're displaying, just put in something like by appointment only, and that way it still will show your city and your state and all that kind of stuff, but it will not show your primary address. As always, if you make any changes, just click the Update button and it will save those changes. Now, the next tab is your account settings, and the account settings are important, especially because you want to control which information you're showing the other people in BNI. And the most important of this is the member-to-member settings. And what that means is that when somebody finds you using the magnifying glass in the BNI directory, what information will you be sharing with them? Do you want to share the information with anybody as soon as they find you? Do you want to share the information only when you become connected with them? Or do you never want to share any of that information? Now, my personal feeling, this is only what I do, is I share everything with everybody because I want when people to find me to just be able to email me or give me a call or give me a referral or whatever else it might be that they're doing when they find my profile. I don't want to have to wait until we're connected before I'm sharing that information. So I do highly, highly recommend at least that you show your contact details, maybe not your email address until you're connected, but your contact details. You want to make sure that you're sharing a phone number and things like that so when they find you, they can get in touch with you right away. The bottom portion has to do with really notifications for the social media functions. Do you want to be notified about group conversations and also about, for example, when somebody sends you a connection request, would you like that connection request to be sent to your regular email? And you can choose any of those as well. Now the next tab is your bio tab, and this is where it might take you a little bit of time. All the rest of this that we've done so far can be done in about 5 minutes. This one may take you a little bit longer. There's just a lot of information to put in here. Now the bio, the first one up top here, this is the exact same bio that usually your secretary treasurer of your group is going to ask you for before you give your first 10-minute presentation at your chapter. If you fill it out here, you shouldn't have to fill it out again on a piece of paper. So it's great to have this information in here. These are all the exact same questions. As I mentioned, you can put in a few weekly presentations. You can either type those out, or as I mentioned, you can also put an embed code in the weekly presentations as well if you'd like to put a video up there. The gains profile, goals, accomplishments, interests, networks, and skills. If you remember back to your member success program, this is a great thing to have in your profile so that you can do a gains exchange before your next one-to-one. Try this out. The next time you're having a one-to-one with somebody, go and look up their BNI Connect profile first and read through their gains information and their tops profile. You'll learn more about them before you even sit down with them, which will turbocharge your one-to-one and get you to the referral process a lot faster. And finally, we have the TOPS profile. Now, the TOPS profile is an interesting one, and if you have a limited amount of time, let's say that you only have 20 minutes to get this done today, I would do this one first because the TOPS profile is one of the things that shows up on the public websites. All the rest of this, the gains and the commercials, that only shows up on the inside of BNI Connect to other BNI members. So again, if you have limited time, fill out your My Business and your Tops profile, and of course, your keywords and your picture and logo. So those are the top things to fill out first, and then come back and fill out the rest of it. Finally, we have the training history. The training history, you can't edit this directly, but if there are things missing or things that need to be changed on here, just contact your regional office. They have the ability to update the items in this list. All right, once you have that all filled out and saved, you can always click on the profile button down here in the bottom part of the screen on the red bar, and that will take you to your profile. By the way, I always forget to mention this because it's not on the profile itself, but if you want to upload things into your photo library, that's not one of the tabs on your profile, but you can get there by clicking on Network, Picture Gallery, and that will allow you to upload things to your Photos tab. All right, so we are at the bottom of the hour. So what I'd like to do is for anybody that needs to leave right away, I just want to say thank you guys so much for being here with me today. I greatly appreciate you learning more about BNI Connect, and hopefully you can take some of this information back to your chapter. As I mentioned, this is part of a series of webinars. We do this series every month to teach people more about BNI Connect. A great referral for me is to please let people know about these webinars. Go back to your chapter and talk about it. If you could let the people in your region know about it, even better. Our very next webinar will be tomorrow at this same time, 3 o'clock Eastern Time, noon Pacific. I believe it's 8 p.m. in the UK. And tomorrow we're going to be talking about giving and tracking referrals online. Now you can get to that by clicking on the question mark here in BNI Connect, and that will take you over to the support site. And on the support site, you will see our listing of all the upcoming webinars, and there's a registration link there. You'll also see that this is where the webinars will be hosted. If you'd like to check out the recordings, for example, here's the March series of webinars. Feel free to share these. You can check them out on our YouTube channel directly as well by going to youtube.com/BNI Connect Global. And you'll find all of our videos up there. All right, so I'd like to open this up to questions. Anybody have any questions at all about BNI Connect? It can be about the profile or it could be about anything in BNI Connect. So Ravi, you had put in a question before. I'd like to know more about BNI Connect's search engine and tips to get optimized on search results. Did I answer that question for you? Really, it's all about the keywords and making sure that you have appropriate keywords in there. The other thing to keep in mind is that again, we're doing direct database searches, which means that, for example, if you are a bookkeeper and you have a keyword in there for bookkeeping, it's not going to find bookkeeper. So you really want to put both versions of the word in there, bookkeeper and bookkeeping, so that people do find you with either search. So hopefully that helps, Ravi. Helen says, how do we get Google to show our BNI info when looking for yourselves? That's going to be a matter of really patience and keeping your profile updated. We can't really force Google to find you, but the Google engines, they do, crawl the internet all of the time, and they are crawling our sites as well, all of the BNI sites. And what really helps with our Google rankings is the fact that we have so many sites. I mean, we have, the 7,000 chapter pages, and we have the, 900 regional websites. So that's a whole lot of stuff that's really helping Google to get more information. So every time you make updates, if you keep your profile updated, it will really help to make sure that Google is crawling this information, finding you, and you will start popping up in those Google search engines. But unfortunately, again, we can't really force Google to find you. The best way to do that is to just make sure you keep your information fresh and updated. Does that help? Does that make sense, Helen? When it comes to your chapter site, so if you happen to have a chapter webmaster, by the way, there are some search engine optimization things that your webmaster should be able to do to help get your chapter pages found in Google a lot better, which also means that it's crawling your profiles a lot more as well. So kind of an advanced tip there. Helen says, do we have classes for those webmasters? Absolutely. So if you click on the question mark again, and you'll see our, oops, that takes me to my support site. Hold on a second. This is the front end of the support site. But right here, when you click on that question mark, you'll see all of our upcoming webinars. And we do have both members webinars. So again, this is the first one today. We're going to go through this whole series. And then we also have leader webinars. And one of the leader webinars is chapter web pages. We're going to have that on April 26th. They can register for that, or we do have all of the recordings of those as well. So hopefully that helps, Helen. Sure thing. All right. Do we have any other questions? Any questions whatsoever? I love answering questions. All right, if there's no additional questions, again, thank you guys so much for being here. I do know I was looking up some of the profiles of the people that were registered. We have people on this call from the United States. I believe we have a couple of people on the call from Australia. I know we have a couple of people on the call from India today. So thank you guys so much. I know it's not a very friendly time of the day for some of you. I think in Australia it might be 6 o'clock in the morning. So thank you guys for being here, and again, investing some time in learning more about BNI Connect, which will hopefully make you more successful in your business as well. And on that note, I hope to see some of you tomorrow, and have a very profitable week. Happy connecting.